Hey everyone, it is Dave and it's time to talk about module number 3. Module 3, we just have one lecture, and that is Italy in the 15th century. You've kind of been exposed to that a little bit in the documentary last week, where you saw the building of the Florence Cathedral and also learned about Brunelleschi and his invention of linear perspective. So we talk a little bit about that more in depth today, because during the 15th century, that's where all the techniques that we learn in art school were pretty much developed. Things like chiaroscuro and aerial perspective, scientific perspective, and so on. And it's really a very interesting time period in Italian art. Next week, we will finish the Renaissance out in terms of the great artists, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, people like that. This week we also have a museum project to do. I don't send you out to a museum, but I do have you check out some museum websites and critique them. So that's going to be the project this week along with our journal. So I'm going to send you over to the Canvas site. I'll walk you through module number 3. All right, here we are on the Canvas site. This week, module number 3. And up top we have our usual suspects. Our video you're watching here, our introduction, and my office hours, again, every Wednesday from 3 to 7 p.m. The lecture this week is on Italy in the 15th century, and I kind of explained what happens during that century, and you also saw the documentary last week, and that really kind of showcased the building of the Florence Cathedral and a few other pieces of subject matter we're going to be covering this week. Our study guide, and then we'll take a look at the further exploration section. So we have a couple readings, Portraiture in Renaissance and Baroque Europe, and that really is the main reading. But you'll also notice that this week I do concentrate a little bit on linear, or what's called scientific perspective. That's the most important invention during the entire Renaissance. And I've got a video down here that will also showcase how it's done. I've got a video on Donatello's statue of David. Now, Michelangelo's David has not been created yet. That's going to be actually in next week's lecture. But going back to perspective for just a moment, if you end up finding that you really dig perspective, and a lot of my engineering students will download this book. This is made possible by Project Gutenberg. And this is like really the Bible as far as perspective goes for artists. So it's really cool, and it shows you how to make street scenes and things like that. But it's optional. It is not required by any means. What is required is the journal entry. And so what the journal entry has for you this week is for you to practice making two-dimensional shapes and turning them into three-dimensional forms. So you start off with shapes like squares and trapezoids, triangles, and then by use of a horizon line and a vanishing point, creating orthogonal lines. And those are the lines that look like this, that are along the sides. And you'll see that they're not parallel, even though in reality they are. But when artists make three-dimensional scenes, those lines have to merge. They become diagonal lines, and they merge on the vanishing point. So I've walked you through all the steps you need in terms of creating an image exactly like this. I also created a short video that shows how to create one of these shapes. By the time you're done for this project, and remember, this is only a 5-point project. This is nothing to lose sleep over or anything like that. I just want you to practice making shapes, and that is basically it. Remember, this is only 5 points. And if you do horrible, you're still probably going to get 3 points. But I want you to take some time to see the steps of this, because this is really important for about 400 years. Now, after the midterm, when we get into modern art, we kind of move linear perspective aside and we kind of go against all these wonderful techniques that we're learning in this particular lecture. The other assignment for this week is a museum gallery event. Now, the due date is on the 23rd, but I do offer a grace period, and you can turn this in until March 2nd without any issues, okay? So I'm not going to mark it down or anything like that. It just gives you some flexibility. Now, keep in mind, too, if you haven't done it already, you need to complete the discussion board welcome. If you haven't posted, make sure you do a post. If you have not replied, make sure you do a reply for the full amount of points, which is 30. It's pretty significant. This project is also 30 points, and I'll go over the directions, which are pretty easy. Basically, what I want you to do is choose 2 museum websites to basically critique. So I have some of the major museums throughout the country and the world here. You don't have to choose these. You can choose one of your own that you think might be better for a compare and contrast. Keep in mind it does have to be an art museum. No music museums or space museums. This is also a Word document that I'm going to have you fill out. So the museum worksheet, and hopefully it'll load pretty quickly here. When you download this, you can type directly into the boxes. They will expand. And the museum name, the website address, the physical location of the museum. What did the landing page look like? The menu bar, what options did it give? How easy is the site to navigate? After you've gone through the site for about 30 minutes, what were the best parts of it? What parts needed improvement? And it's amazing to think that while some of these museums have world-class art, their websites are lacking. In fact, I can tell you one of them particularly is horrible. So make sure to mark down what you think doesn't reach your expectations. What is the favorite type of art the museum contained? Your specific favorite artwork from the museum. Describe the artwork, why you like it, and any closing thoughts. Keep in mind for your favorite artwork here, you want to make sure to include an image of it. And you can see that we have 2 columns, one for Museum 1, one for Museum 2. Now, I also went ahead and provided a completed worksheet for you. Keep in mind that this is an outstanding student, and you can kind of see how lengthy this ended up becoming. I do not expect it to be 3 1/4, 3 1/3 pages. If you do 2, 2 1/2, I am more than pleased with that. So don't feel you have to go up to this standard, but something similar. You notice that none of these boxes are empty. They're all complete, and that's really great. So again, outstanding job for this student. List of museums to their websites. Once again, the project is due the 23rd, late date of the 2nd, and this is a 30-point project. If you don't have Microsoft Office, you're available to get an educational copy of it for free through Chaffey College, and I gave you the link here. It's also, by the way, in the syllabus as well. Now, I think that is everything for this week. So if you have questions, comments, concerns, please email me. I'm available Monday through Friday email, Wednesday for office hours. I will see you shortly with module number 4.